everybody, and welcome. I'm a little bit out of frame. Here we go. Let's fix it. I see there are a ton of people on here. Let's see who's hanging out with us today. Got Corey and Triple B and Barlord and Corey. Got a bunch of folk. Hi, everybody. Behind the scenes today is Jay, taking care of everything. And what's so cool is that there are a ton of really great books coming out, including one that has been delayed by, 40 years, something, a really long time. Excited for that. It's a weirdly non-absolute week. No absolute. Sorry. So stay tuned. We're going to review some awesome books this week. And welcome. I have the complete Megalith black and white set. No, I have the number 1 though. That is our exclusive. The entire book is going to be black and white for Megalith. I'm excited for that to come in because I love so much that Bad Idea does all of their books on that nice newsprint. There's one this week that I'm going to review that has on it. I know that some people read newsprint paper as being like a less expensive choice, but actually it costs them more to use it. It just feels so nice. Feels nice. It keeps the inks really well. I don't know. There's something to be said about that paper is just a love. It's been a kind of a sucky week in comic books in that we've lost a bunch of creators. Like I think I just saw today that we lost the creator of He-Man. So just like tell the people that are creating the things that you love something nice now. Give them some love in social media or send them an email or write them, God forbid, use paper and actually write them a letter and put it in the mail because, you can't say these things to them when they're gone. You can say things about them when they're gone, say nice things about them when they're gone, but they don't get to enjoy it. So if there's somebody that you love out there that has created things that have made a difference in your life, impacted your creativity, any of those things, please say something to them or about them so that they can see it. Now, some of these older fellows don't do social media, so maybe their friends will tell them. Yeah, it's like it tells me that I definitely don't need to wait on telling Chris Claremont what he means to me. Because he means a lot to me, but I'm scared to meet him. Those kind of things where you're like, well, I don't know what will happen. What will happen if I meet him? I've heard only good things, but you know how your brain works. Like, what if it's not right? Anyway, just my own messages today. Let's talk about comics. Okay. I almost missed reviewing this one because, of course, it says Swamp Thing 88. And I was just like, oh, well, maybe this is a facsimile of something. And my brain told me something. And said, wait, this is that book that they never got to print. So this one got planned for 1989, I believe, was its original release date. And they turned in the art for this book. And on the front, they had Jesus on a crucifix, which is the storyline definitely delves into the person of Jesus and Swamp Thing, because he can because he is a kind of eternal being. He can travel through time. He's immortal. He is earth, whatever, plants. So this is just really kind of without saying anything too strongly about it, that it gives very awesome looks at this is me looking at the person. This is me looking at, there's a whole story arc in which there are demons that are trying to prevent such things from happening. They just don't like them. They talk about it a little bit in terms of magics, but the art is so good. Oh my gosh. So beautiful, the art. I'm very, very happy with this book. I will say, this is me sharing a little bit of my heart as a Sunday school teacher. It made me cry a little because it was so beautiful. So if you want to like get yourself kicked in the feels a little bit this week, this one is definitely for you. Or if you just like Swamp Thing in general, or if you like really amazing art, yeah, it's Black Label for sure. If I had to look it up, it's 1989 Swamp Thing. Oh gosh, yeah, because when I posted it up for Jay has to always find my art for me, so I tell him what I'm going to review, and sometimes he's like, I have no idea what you were actually reading because I just put what was on the front cover. So yeah, and it's neat because it has inside the front cover, it's got a really great synopsis of like what happened before, like why it didn't come out before, and at the end also it has like a big story. So it is really, really cool. I have no idea unknown. I just got handed these by my staff. They're like, here, these are the ones that we think you want to actually read. So I am sure there are variant covers, but this is the one that I think is the main cover. I've seen this on social media a lot, and it's chock full of symbolism. After you read the story, you're like, oh yeah. So it's so deep, very deep. This is the opposite of deep, but also this one will make your head split. All right, so I did not read number 2 of Is Ted Okay? I did not read this number 2, but the number 1 was very clearly, there was, the way that book played out was that there was like a bad guy killer, and Ted, who has like a handler at work, they kind of like observed him to see what was up, make sure everything was okay. His handler actually kind of like feelings for him. Anyway, there's a little different relationship between just like a corporate spy and what is going on here. So in the first book, you find out that Ted, if he gets stressed out, he like freezes up, kind of like, you know, those goats that like lock up and fall over. It's kind of like that. And that does not help if you just happen to accidentally observe a serial killing, and you lock up. So in the second issue, I believe what's happened, because it's made reference in here that he has some, I don't know if it's a vision that he has or something. There's an alien spacecraft that somebody sees. And that you'll need to know that for this book. It'll help a lot. So in this one, it is truly like Ted looks like he's having visions, and this guy here is like a super bad guy who is like, okay, so Ted's at a hospital. I think he gets brought there by his handler, and also who's there is I'm trying to remember who the third person is, but that person's important. But anyway, I don't want to spoil a lot. But while they're there, there is all these people being brought in because they were part of a mass shooting. And then this guy who was part of the mass shooting comes into the hospital and starts shooting people up. So this is a bad guy, very bad guy. Hopefully I'm not mixing it up with another storyline. It's probably what I've just done. But anyway, this is a big, like, something happens in this book that you cannot possibly foresee as happening. Ted is maybe not who we thought he was. There might be a reason why he's being observed. He looks like Jake Busey. I could see that. No, I totally can see that. My free comic book day is going to be so good. We're going to talk about that a little bit at the end. And then we've also got some other shows that have been talking about it on the EXP a little more specifically. So it is a huge day. So anyway, this is Ted okay? Probably I will say no. No, he is not okay. No. All right, Feral. So you need to know about this book that is a flip book, because in the last issue, we found out that the world of Feral and the world of Stray Dogs are the same world. So, surprise. So in the Feral world, they're dealing with, it's mostly cats, dealing with the fact that there is a big, like, pandemic of rabies, and it is very easy to get by scratches. And it's been focusing in on this little group of cats that has become bigger groups of cats. Lord is the main kitty cat here, and then there's a bunch of other ones that have kind of like Ghost shows up and all these other guys. And there's one dog that's part of their group. And the last big story arc, they were all kind of like, imagine like the PetSmart. They had gone in there for kind of like safety, but then they end up being in kind of like this like battle for the turf of the space with another group of pets. And that gets kind of crazy. So this is after that. They actually get grabbed up by a bunch of guys in lab coats. And at the end of the last issue of Feral, you saw that they were in a facility that was testing on the pets that were there. And it was unclear whether it was a good thing or a bad thing, right? And then at the very last bit, you saw that in another part of the facility were a bunch of dogs, and they just happen to be our dogs that are part of the Stray Dogs group. And in that series, which happened way before Feral, the dogs that are in the group are they're kind of like trophies that have been gathered by this serial killer. And the dogs kind of like solve that kind of through the series. They don't know why they're there. They don't remember anything. It focuses on one dog who has a very short memory span, and it's still true. So, so in this one, it is a flip book. So it has from the point of view of the cats, and on the other side, point of view of the dogs that are now in the same facility. So you can kind of like figure out a little bit. Are these people doing bad things to the cats and dogs, good things to the cats and dogs? It's I like seeing them both together. So anyway, if you haven't ever read the beginning of Feral, or if you've never read Stray Dogs, where there was like a little standalone series, there was also Stray Dogs that came after it. I highly recommend grabbing the cool trade paperbacks. It's exceptionally good. And you should follow Tony Fleece and Trish Forstner and Tone Rodriguez. All of them. You should. Please do. Shed some tears on that last issue. Yeah, I totally got that. All right. Uncanny X-Men. So this is Gail Simone. Remember, they took a little break from the main storyline that Gail was telling in Uncanny X-Men when they were kind of like doing a big wrap-up of the main storyline that was happening in the X books. So this one started last month, as a story arc called Who's Been Sleeping in My Bed? In which you definitely have kind of a split off of the students who have been under the care of Logan and of Nightcrawler and Rogue and Remy, a little bit of Jubilee. So this kind of moves forward it's such a scary tale, this series. Kind of left it at a big kind of like dun 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 for the last issue. So this one, I will tell you that there is a big section at the beginning that happens at Graymalkin, in which there is a very, very old person there named Philip. So I actually will fully tell you that I am not 100% certain who Philip is here, except for that he's like decrepitly old and knows that he's dying soon. So pay attention to all that stuff, because I'm trying to figure out who that character is. And I can tell you right now, Gail Simone does not put stuff in books unless it is important to the overall storyline, right? And then it's kind of cool because it then says Elsewhen, the Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters, in which it has our main characters that were created by and introduced by Gail, which are Ransom, Calico, Jitter, Death Dream, and then weirdly Mutina, who was introduced as a bad guy, but then in this storyline, which I think probably they're not all in reality, has them all together and training in the danger room and hanging out. And at the end of the last issue, they introduced characters, them as like the new mutants group, which is kind of crazy because they're supposed to be the Uncanny X-Men. So, and let's see, this is them all saying that they put them in the danger room in order to put them as an audition. And then there's a big kind of like reveal on the last page for this one. So I think that we're seeing something that might be being influenced by maybe one of the big psychic players in the X universe, that maybe they're controlling the kids. We still have the overarching storyline of one of them is supposed to destroy everything. We just don't know when, how. So you always are paying attention to them or what's up. I just like their powers. Their powers are very interesting. I love that Jitter has stutters. And I love that Deathream is dead. So nothing can really kill him because dead. All right. So if you haven't jumped in, cool story. Punisher. This was not in my pile, but I remember that I read number 1 and maybe number 2 also, and really, really loved it. So it helps a lot for this series if you read Punisher Red Band, because it does keep on going back and forth and referring to the events that happened in the Red Band series, in which pretty much Punisher was being like, I'll say it the way I say it, which is like he's been driven like a bus. The puzzler, I think, has been in kind of control of him in his brain, kind of like, feel like he's like done something medically to him, like maybe replaced part of his brain with something that he can actually like control him. And at the end of that series, it looked like Punisher comes out from underneath that, and he's been in this series kind of trying to figure himself out, right? He's pissed off because someone's been making him kill people, and he doesn't necessarily recollect any of the things that he's been doing. And he's like got this like a problem also where he now, when he actually does do punishing, it says it like gives him pain, like his head's in a lot of pain. So that is an interesting new change. And then, okay, so this is where I got this part. So this is the part where the hospital comes in. Sorry, I got these two things mixed up. So this starts out with a Punisher hanging out at the hospital where there are a bunch of shooting victims, and you're not really 100% certain if it's something that he's done and that he doesn't remember or what. And then this shooter comes in to kind of like finish the job. So he's pewing people that are in this hospital, and then of course the Punisher does his thing. And as soon as he does his thing, then you're gonna immediately Frank's got pain, and you see him popping pills, lots of pills. Oh my gosh, so many pills that he's using to try to control this. And then you see also that there is some big movement by what is his name? Oh no, my brain is gonna stop. Sorry. No, so sorry. No, it's okay that you don't know what his name is. Anyway, there is someone going and like stealing people's faces and wearing them, and then using the fact that you can't tell who he is to like get at other people that he's then. So behind all of this is like a big power grab for, Tombstone isn't in control. Maybe it is all the puzzler, still working behind the scenes to do stuff. And by the way, the cover art for here is a killer. Just a killer Marquez cover. I like that he looks like he's crawling out of his grave. Is he? There is a final page in this book that I will tell you as a trigger warning person, self-harm related. So just be prepared for that. If you are not in a mental space that can allow you to see a self-harm image, you should not get to the end of this book. So Heads up. Oh my gosh. Also, if you don't mind washing your eyeballs out after you read a book, this is the way to go. Murder Hobo's been around for a long time. Schmalky used to do his stuff under Scout Comics, and I think maybe even before that he did it on his own. We actually have had for the comic book shopping network where he had a variant cover. Maybe it was just my store. I think we just did a store variant for this book. And it's so funny because when they sent it over, I famously, Brian Silverbacks will tell you that I told Scout, I was like, I cannot, you're going to have to change something about this cover. I can't, I'm a family friendly store, so I can't use this cover. And what no one had looked at is like, it was a close up of the hobo. And he had a bunch of stuff in his hands and his backpack and all that stuff. And I think no one ever looked at what he had because it was all like super spicy ooh la la stuff. Just despicable things. And so they ended up changing what he was holding, like to a beer can and other stuff for our variant. But somewhere out there, the super adult version of the cover exists. So if you're a completist, just look at, I'm sure you can get them from Brian Silverbacks anyway. But Murder Hobo, if you don't know what a murder hobo is in the world of D&D, murder hobos are people or characters that their only purpose is messing everything up. They have no reason to want to help the troop actually fulfill whatever their goals are for the group itself, defeating dragons, getting gold, whatever. They're just there to mess everything up. So that's where the term comes from. And the murder hobo himself has over time gathered people as part of his group. So now they're kind of like a murder hobos group. And if you get the Scout books, you can see them kind of like get all their people together. And they're all in this book. It's kind of fun to know what their backstory is, but it doesn't really matter. All you need to know is that if it is an ooh la la joke or super violent, then it's probably in this book. But this is mostly about them hanging out at a bar and figuring out how they can get another job, but not really with any kind of effort. There's some almost nudity. This is not one to get and lay around the house. How can I explain this? Jay, give me some better description about
this. Is so not safe for work, not safe for kids, and probably not safe for adults. I have, I think, 3 different volumes, and then when Joseph did a Kickstarter, I think I grabbed that one too. Mm-hmm. I love this book, but you've got to be a little demented. Just a bit. It's
like dork mixed with, man, I'm trying to think what you can put it together with, because it is kind of like set in that kind of world. Yeah, very adult dork.
Very, very like quadruple X-rated dork.
Yes. It's like that mixed with shirtless bear fighter, but X'd.
So many X's.
All
so
the X's.
Many X's.
But it's funny because it's cartoons.
It is a fun time though, folks. So if you're into twisted stuff like that, I would definitely check out Murder Hobo.
Yeah. There's a reason why he keeps on making them, because people do like them. Otherwise, it would have gone away a long time ago. Okay, I saw some pages of this awesome book by Tony Millionaire. Just imagine if you kind of went back in time a little bit to when you had underground books, which were really pretty, but also may have benefited from the times that they were made in which people were a little bit hazy in their minds. If that makes sense. Very fantasy based. This is So beautiful. This is the one I was talking about earlier. That's a bad idea book that is on that really nice newsprint paper. And every page is beautiful and like celestial, all like just like this cover looks like. It's largely about there's a look, you can kind of see him climbing there on the right hand side. He's kind of a monkey man, and his good friend who's a skunk. The skunk likes to drink a lot, and so does the monkey man at the beginning of the book. But through regular prose and kind of like poetry prose, there's a story being told here. The first part of the book, maybe the first third, is about his kind of like realizing that probably being super drunk all the time is not good for him. And then at the end of because there's 3 big chapters in the book, the center one, he finds, or kind of like I feel like she's in a cave. There is a swan, but with a long flowing mane of black hair. Don't ask me. Just imagine that you're totally in like the most crazy dream you've ever been in, who he sees from afar and falls in love with. And then the rest of the book is kind of like this like long travel to try to find her, and then once they find her again, to try to impress her enough to have her pay attention to him. And there is something that happens in the book that gives an opportunity for that. So this is just really sweet and wonderful, but also just know that you're kind of reading art and not something that needs to be perfect or make 100% sense on every page. There is like the middle part. It feels a little bit like the Odyssey, honestly, because in the middle he runs into, or maybe it's the Iliad, that there's the Minotaur's labyrinth. So anyway, maybe that's what he was getting at. There is a little bit of information at the front that maybe he does kind of like lay out what he was thinking about when he was coming up with the story. But I found it to be really beautiful art. Like even if you're an art person and not necessarily going to be in love with the style of the storytelling here, it's probably still a good payoff for you. It looks like old-fashioned newsprint art book. Really cool. And it's longer than a normal comic book would be. All right, Doom, $20.99. This book looks like a throwaway book. Why would you want to have this book? Doom, $20.99, hasn't been around in a long time. He's an old school character. Why is he back? Why does it matter? But it might have been one of the best books I read this week outside of Swamp Thing. This one is crazy good because Doom 2099 kind of addresses a Doom that finds himself unmoored, very unmoored from his former strength. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. So I'm going to read this kind of like by way of giving the primer of what it actually, the setup for it is. So the Doom here rules a broken future, dead, ruined timeline where he's responsible for the annihilation of every hero, villain, and civilian on Earth. In his future, Doom's past self reigns as Sorcerer Supreme, spiraled into a catastrophe, culminating in a D-Day, the day Doom killed the assembled superhumans who rose against him. So imagine the beginning of this book, that because of the events that happened in the past, he basically uses, like, imagine if you were the Sorcerer Supreme and he could use like the biggest spell, which was intended to just get rid of a few people, but gets rid of every single person on the planet and living being. He is the only person left. And so he has to create Doom bots to have anybody to interact with at all. Heartbreaking, right? So it says, only Castle Doom remains standing, surrounded by destruction, rubble, and silence. His subjects are Doom bots, modeled after the heroes he killed, constructed out of guilt, regret, and not loyalty. So He has one hope only: travel back and force his past self to give up the power of Sorcerer Supreme before history collapses again. And more than that, it doesn't even mention it in this like lead in, but you can tell from this cover here, he's gonna like really enact something crazy. He's gonna go find Ultron's head and believes that he can actually make some kind of fail safes to keep himself from anything that Ultron might do. And you know that that's not going to be right. This is, I will very highly recommend. This is me saying the Ms.Jen guarantee. If you have any love of Doom at all, or just heartbreaking stories, or maybe like Ultron, this is a book that I highly, highly recommend you pick up. I actually don't even know if this is the first of something or if it's a standalone story, and it doesn't matter either way. If this is where this one ends, great. It was a super good story, but if they keep on with where they are from here, also great. I kind of wish, now that I've read this book, that this is where the movies are going. This exact story. I would love this to be the story that they use for Doomsday. This one. All right. So I know you guys are maybe getting a little bit like, I don't know, should I trust that the next Image book is going to be the It book? Do I bother buying them, or is this part of a big hype train? I actually don't know if there's a hype train about Red Roots, but we should start one right now, because this is a freaky, freaky book. So by the admission of Felicity there, he says that he had two ideas for stories. And so he just decided to see if these two stories could live on the same story. Could they be two tales being told alongside each other? And it turns out they very much can. So this is a lot about a woman facing the fact that maybe she has family members who have experienced dementia, or had dementia show up in their life. So when she comes home and finds a head in her closet after being gone, and the police actually come and see the head and gather the head and start doing investigations about the head, they cannot actually identify whose head it is. And they also can't find any evidence of anyone else being in her apartment. And that is just the very beginning of what turns out to be very scary. Like, either she's completely crazy, she has dementia, or there is something else super supernatural going on, because it's not the first head that shows up in this book, and the heads talk to her. They talk to her. So I don't know what's going on, but there are two kitty cats in it. She's got two kitties. I forgot their names, Lily and... They have like people names. It always makes me crazy when people have cats with just regular, or pets in general, where their dog's name is Pete or Bill. Like, isn't it required they have to have some kind of fun name? Blackie, like this cat, Blackie, or Midnight. Talking heads, yep. Instead of a basket full of heads, it's a closet full of heads. Yeah, except for there's more than just in her closet. There's a lot. There's a lot goes on in this. So there is another parallel story that is being told here. It is a big, long book. There are a lot of different covers for this book that are very interesting covers, but it's a very interesting start. I personally don't mind when I read a number one and don't 100% know what kind of genre I'm reading. Is what I'm reading horror? Is it psychological thriller? Is it magical? I don't know. And that's okay here. Got Mignola? Nice. You can't lose with Mignola. I don't know who this cover artist is that's on this one, but I like. Oh, it's Lair. Oh, this is the other thing that I want to go and figure out. You see this little thing right here? I seem to remember that cover artist back. Maybe it was a Walking Dead issue where they made a cover where there was a secret variant for it in which just their name was a different color. I didn't look at mine to see if that was true. I just remember that specific cover artist that they had done that. I don't think it was the artist. I think it was the image did it to make it interesting. But there's enough variant covers anyway here, so I don't know if they would do that extra thing. But anyway, I like secret variants on stuff. Do you guys like secret variants? Like they did it for Marvel for a little while where they would have like one book randomly inserted that had like Carnage's tendrils on it, or they'd have one, I think it was Stegman covers where the tongue would be like really big, long, and round off of characters that were symbiote characters. You guys like secret ones like that, or is it just impossible because you can't order it? So if a secret cover becomes available, then you have to like fight the masses to try to find a copy for yourself. And then maybe even the stores don't know anything about it. You like the secret ones? Mr. Towers likes them. All right. I feel like there were a lot of books that were kind of related this week. This one was a pretty big blood fest. So this is Final Boss, Masked Vigilante. And it is pretty much a loose storyline in which you kind of figure out, I think this is the right one, because there's another one that's super bloody too. So, okay, no. This one follows this exactly what it says, mass vigilante, going after people who are trafficking young ladies. And maybe you're led to believe from the small glimpses you get of this person in general, who is, I believe, a girl, because she has either that or they fooled me completely. Looks like perhaps she is herself maybe a victim of such things and has come back full circle and just out for blood. So not an entire gigantic amount of actual storyline, but tons and tons of comeuppance and stabby parts and pew-pewy parts for here. So, and it's really pretty well done if you're going to do violence. The way it moves around the page is really dynamic. This is the cover C Gully variant. We sketch up and was really excited about getting to do this one. Oh, cool. Love it. Yeah, because I have like the A is Kirkham. I think Kirkham wrote the book. He must like to do a lot of like cool violent scenes, but Highlander Mortal Kombat video game. Yeah. Actually, the original first Final Boss book, I actually pulled one for myself and then I never read it. I think it's buried in this room. I have so many things just like totally buried in my office. Someday when you unearth me from this place, you'll find all kinds of goodies, I guess. Street Sharks. This is the annual, which always annuals for comic books seem to be like you could just jump in them. They're standalone stories, usually not touching on anything. They have this character here on the front that looks like they're maybe not usually part of the main Street Sharks group, but all of the Street Sharks in this issue, when he shows up, are like, yay! He has a really funny name, which I cannot now remember. I did not watch Street Sharks growing up, and that's not because I didn't like them. I think they were past my time. I had like Turtles and Silverhawks and that kind of stuff, but I think maybe Street Sharks came after I was done with cartoon times. So in this one, it looks like there's 3 big bads that aren't, Moby Lick. Yeah, that's his name. I was like, what? Come on. That there are 3 big bads that come together in order to, they're trying to steal this like prehistoric dinosaur thing. that gets found in the deep, deep ocean. And then it escapes. And then they try to capture it. So it's neat to see, like, each of the sharks has kind of like a very special, specific ability that I've found to be fun. So if you like, Street Sharks is for people that still like turtles, which you should, or any of those kinds of things. It's a lot of fun. And those old school action figures, did you guys have them? They were substantial things. They were great. Like, now the toys that they make for kids, I feel like, don't last very well. But Street Sharks probably last for all time. They're kind of like the He-Man ones. They were pretty good, except for maybe the O-ring might pop in them. You just fix it again. But they just don't make kids toys the way that they used to. I feel bad for kids. Do better, toy manufacturers. Make something that can last longer than 30 seconds while the kid bashes it against the ground. Andrew Rannells voiced one of the characters. I don't know who that is. What else did Andrew do?
He's one of those guys that if you saw a picture of, you'd be like, oh, it's that guy.
Oh, like his voice is instantly recognizable kind of thing.
Oh yeah, very talented Broadway singer. All that jazz. He was in the Book of Mormon. He was in an episode or two of How I Met Your Mother. Like he's one of those guys.
Love it. The OG Transformers had thick metal pieces, so those things lasted. They did Bar-Lord, but you could never figure out how to re-transform them. I could never figure out how to do them. I think I had one of the Soundwave, the little tape guys. I think it was Rampage, and I could never get my Rampage closed back down so it could fit in the cassette tape thing part. So that's on me. That's on me. Fun fact: for all of the DC covers that are the cardstock covers, underneath the cardstock cover is the A cover. So people figured this out about the Absolute Batman stuff. So people that had not the A cover, when A cover was the one that became worth a lot of money, they realized that they could just take that outer cover off, and they had a first print #1. So that's the same for this. I don't know. Zatanna's going to be something that people are going to later on be like, it's worth $150. I need to do the work. But anyway, it's true. They're under there. I would never do that and not tell somebody that I took it off, because that kind of feels like a naughtiness. Zatanna. Yeah, it's risky, and I feel like it's kind of like an ethics problem. But if you just wanted one for yourself, if you just wanted one, I like that other cover more, and you could take it off so you can have the other one. So popped a staple. So, okay. This is kind of a straightforward Zatanna tale. It's one of those things I can't tell you that it breaks any giant ground. It is a fun tale in which she's having a discussion with herself at the beginning of the book, saying that there hasn't been a prime Magus. It has no one's claimed the right to be that. I think of it like Sorcerer Supreme, I guess. And so she, at the beginning of the book, decides that that's what she's going to do. She's going to claim the mantle of the prime. And then it's kind of cool because the art is actually incredible. This is her. I guess there's a bunch of different realms that she has to go visit, or that are possible for her. And this one takes place in the realm of the elves, or it's called Verdant City. So, did you know? Is this a new character? In her hat, she has this purple spirit bunny. Has she always had the spirit bunny, or is that something new for this book? And if so, then you absolutely should get it. But this is an adventure for her in that universe, in which it's a really scary tendril group. Don't know how to explain it to you. But anyway, it is a fun romp. It does introduce a character called Agent Domains, in which he says that like his name in the book is redacted. So anyway, it's a new thing for me. I don't remember ever seeing Agent Domains, but it leads you to believe that she's going to be jumping through all the different places where she now is charge of, ruler over, or whatever, and trying to set things straight in all of them. So I guess maybe for me, like this, I feel like I need to, every time she does a magic spell, figure out what she's saying, because it's just backwards. It's like reading manga, but in a mirror. So you just have to remember you're reading left to right and backwards. But after a while, I get tired. All right, this one is actually really, really cool. So Justice League Intergalactic Special definitely touches back on a ton of different books, including the recent Green Lanterns, and it refers back a ton of times to Absolute Power, which you have like the storyline of Amanda Waller kind of manipulating everybody and everything. She's got people like doing her bidding, and that resolved with her. Yeah, thanks. Oh my gosh, somebody who can actually do it. That's crazy. That is crazy. That was fast typing, Jay. Good job. So in this one, it is a little bit about, okay, see the girl that is down there on the right-hand side with like, looks like blue lightning stuff on her hands. That girl has the ability to like kind of go use dreams as portals and also influence people's dreams, and also look like in her dreams she can see the future, like when she's doing it. So, but the problem is that she, along with, I'm trying to remember who else, I think Star Sapphire, was very much on the payroll of Amanda during that story arc, so no one trusts them. They call him, she's basically seen as being like a war criminal. But there is something crazy bad happening in which there are a bunch of lanterns that went to, I'm never going to remember. Oh, it's on the front there. Nope, it's not on the front there. There is a planet in which it like it has an effect that is kind of like something that's beneficial to her. But the lanterns disappear because they're on this planet. And so Adam there at the top, sorry, Doctor Strange. No, that's not Doctor Strange. Adam Strange. Thank you. I'm going to get all their names together here. Adam Stranger at the top, which I did not know he has no power whatsoever. Did you guys know that? No power. Same with Alexander. Nope, not Alexander. With Queen down there at the bottom. Doesn't have any power either. But they do make a lot of light about that here. But the girl there that's in the background with kind of like the blue hair, who's an alien, and I've forgotten her name. She's at the center of all this. She decides that she has to go to this planet where the lanterns have disappeared. Yeah, Dreamer. Arrowverse character created for Supergirl. Oh, okay. Yeah, Dreamer is a really cool character. I like the complexity of that character. But the alien there on the left-hand side is kind of like the push through for what's going on, because Dreamer actually sees that character in a dream doing terrible, terrible things, being influenced by this like weird queen, somebody that's on this other planet making real big trouble. It's like, it's not good if you can control a whole bunch of lanterns, by the way. It'd be real hard to fight that. But this is good. Great if you've been following Justice League, Green Arrow, Green Lantern. It's a through line that's been through a lot of the books in DC. So this is a good story with these characters. Helps you understand some characters that aren't like usually main players. And then this 100% beauty. Oh my goodness. All right, so I'm going to give you a base stuff for this. I don't want to wreck anything about this wonderful tale for you. So the book starts really with like just Batman and Wonder Woman. And they are thinking thoughts in narration blocks about each other and having discussions with each other. You can kind of tell because they color the blocks so you can tell who's thinking what or talking about what. And the unseen third character is Clark Kent or Superman, in which the inference is that the interactions between these two characters, Clark kind of like knew what might happen and believes that they can get along, etc. So the main part storyline about this is that the lasso of truth, the bangles that she uses to move bullets, and her headgear, she is going to put on display in Gotham, I believe, under the security oversight of Bruce. And of course, she knows who Batman is, so there's a lot of kind of like crazy whatever. And I will just say that, like, they put the lasso of truth in the glass case where it's supposed to go, and immediately the lights go out and it's gone. Corey, you might have figured out what's happening. There's a Catwoman on the cover. There are other players you might be able to figure out from other things that are on this deal. But this is a big prestige format book in which it is a masterful telling of a tale that gets to like at the core of some of these characters, including one character who at one point is holding the lasso, and a truth comes out about them, because the through line here is that Wonder Woman doesn't hold anything back kind of about herself. She's very transparent. And then you've got Bruce or Batman, who doesn't say anything about himself. He's always holding that kind of stuff in. So it's like, who has the lasso, and for what it means for each of those characters is the through line. That's why it's called Truth. So very emotional tale. Amazing, amazing Jeff Loeb awesomeness. The lasso changes hands many times. And very quickly, the graphic novels that you might be grabbing up, since we had a Final Boss tie-in this week. It's nice that Final Boss in its entirety is available this week. I shared today a post from a really lovely friend of mine that owns a comic book store, who was kind of enumerating the 3 books that kind of like impacted their life and their decisions about the joy of running their store, including like when they were having just a hard time about deciding to continue on in the store. They picked up a book that changed their mind about it, that they fell back in love with books. And one of the books that they actually mentioned was this, The Omega Men, by Tom King, in which he kind of like took character group that most people didn't care about or hadn't remembered or whatever, and made us love it. That's his big skill, right? Predator Kills the Marvel Universe is out also. Book 2 of the Night Eaters, amazing Marjorie Liu and Santa Takada. That might be just a restock for us, but if you want to see the most beautiful art in the universe, that's what you should do. Joker, The Last Ha Ha Ha. Justice League Unlimited. This is Omega Act. There's a new manga out called Kurio Fan Club. So it's very precious. It's your opportunity to get the big old Transformers book 2. There's an official Magic the Gathering coloring book. And I think that, oh no. And also big old Violator. Well, there you go. That is what is out. There's a ton more. Definitely go and visit your local comic shop on Saturday. Pay attention to what they have posted. They might have special hours, special things that they want you to do, like don't bring backpacks in the store. It's going to be too packed. We don't have room for it. Or if they're doing a blood drive or gathering canned goods, please go support them. Just know they spend a ton of money on the books they're giving you for free. So if you can, help them by picking up a couple bucks worth of stuff while you're there to offset the fact that they've spent 25, 35 cents for each of the books that they're giving away. And just think about how many thousands of them they're giving away that day. Please, please, please support them because you love them. Or
I
everybody,
just want to add on to Miss Jen before we go. Yes, please. If you could spend an extra $5, extra couple bucks, some of these stores are having sales to go along with it. And also, please, please, please do not be upset with your LCS if they happen to not get one of the free comic book day or comics giveaway day books that you're looking for. These folks work really hard. Those days are crazy for them. So just have a little grace with them.
absolutely. Coming up next, I'm going to be offering these books I just give you reviews for. So you can just stay tuned or pop back into the feed. I thank you guys so much for your support. Thank you, Jay. This was awesome. See you guys next time.